Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, All Things Tonya. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. As usual, on my channel, I love bringing you affordable DIYs that are easy and fun to make. Today, I will be using items from both the Dollar Tree and Target Dollar Spot to make some gorgeous fall pieces. But before we get started, as usual, I would like to welcome those of you who are visiting my channel for the very first time. I hope you enjoy today and will consider subscribing to my channel. My friends who are always here supporting me, welcome back. For my first DIY, I will be using these 3 risers that I picked up from Target Dollar Spot earlier in the summer, and they were $5 for the 3 of them. I love the light color for this spring, but I want to bring in a darker color for the fall. For my mixture, I'm going to be using a little of my Waverly Antique Wax and just a small amount of my Waverly Chalk Paint Colored Ink. I'm going to mix the two, apply the mixture using a brush, and then I am going to rub it in using a wet paper towel. Look how gorgeous this mixture is as a stain. It really brings in the fall with a darker tone, and I'm really loving how this is turning out. I really like that you can still see the grain of the wood with the darker stain. To me, I think the darker stain have more of a higher end look, but I still do like the both of them. I'm going to stain these two using the same mixture, and then we're going to complete this easy DIY. I want to make these risers interchangeable for the seasons, so I'm going to be using some window clings for the fall. I'm going to use 3 of them for these DIYs, but I want them to be removable, so I'm going to be using a glue stick to apply them, and that way I could remove them when I want to use them for Christmas. I'm going to use 3 of the green ones because I want it to look like a set. And I am going to cut as close as I can to the decal. I do not want the little plastic edges surrounding it, if you know what I mean, like the little clear edges. So I'm cutting as close as I can, so that way the decal will look like it's actually painted on the wood. So now I'm going to use an Elmer glue stick, and I am going to apply a generous amount of glue to the back, and then I am going to place them in the center of the riser. And I am using Elmer glue stick because I can remove that when I want to remove the decal for different seasons. Now here are my fall risers. I think they're just gorgeous. I hope you enjoyed how easy they are to create. My next DIY, I will be using these 5 wood slates from the Dollar Tree. They are 12 inches long. And I'm also going to use several of these Harvest DIY words. They come 6 to a pack. I placed the wood pieces close together, and then I used these large craft sticks and some hot glue to attach my boards. I then stained my board using my Waverly Antique Wax, and I'm now going to take my plaster color paint use my brush and apply a small amount to my little sponge I have here. And then I'm going to gently brush the paint onto my board because I want this DIY to have a distressed look. Now I'm going to use 4 different paint colors to paint my harvest words. I'm going to use my Waverly Antique Wax. I'm going to use my Waverly Chalk Paint color Moss, my Apple Barrel Paint color Spiced Berry, and my Waverly Chalk Paint color Pumpkin. Now that all of my pieces have fall colors, I am going to place them on my board. There's no rhyme or reason to how I am placing them. I'm just going to try to make sure that none of the same colors are really close together. And then I'm going to use my hot glue gun to glue them into place. I'm going to use my putty to fill in the holes in the leaves, and then I'm going to paint over the plaster once it dries. I made 2 little knots out of some thick jute twine, and I am going to glue them to the top of my sign. And then I'm going to take another piece of that jute rope, and I'm going to place the ends right on top of the knots. And it will look as if the rope and the knots are actually attached when I hang my sign. After attaching my rope to the knots, this DIY will be completed, and I really am in love with it, guys, and I hope you love it just as much as I do. For my final DIY, I will be using these 3 fall signs that I picked up from the Dollar Tree last fall season, and I never used them. But I'm going to cut them down to about 12 inches each using my miter box and my saw. Here are my 3 12-inch pieces, but I am not going to use the front of the sign to complete my DIYs. I will be using the back so that I will have a clean slate, and I am going to use some craft paper to cover the front of the signs so that my project will look completed when I am done. Now I have 3 beautiful prepared pieces to complete my DIY. I will be using the same 3 colors to paint these boards. I will be using my Apple Barrel Spiced Berry, my Waverly Chalk Paint Color Pumpkin, and my Waverly Chalk Paint Colored Moss. Before applying those 3 colors, I'm going to use my Waverly Antique Wax to give the board a base coat, and then I'm going to use my 3 colors. I'm going to use the same sponge effect that I used to give my board the distressed look in the previous project. I really loved how that DIY turned out, and I think I want to try it with some different colors. So here I am applying the antique wax using a dry paper towel. I'm just rubbing it in so that the board will have a darker tone to it when I apply the colored paint. So I'm going to take one of my sponge brushes and I'm going to remove the wood handle and apply some moss colored paint using my paintbrush. Now I'm going to lightly take the sponge piece and I'm going to brush over my board. This is why I use the Waverly Antique Wax as my base so that you can see it under the paint better than the natural color that was already there. And it gives it that distressed look. I'm really in love with this, guys. I am so happy I decided to do it this way. Now here are my boards. They're all painted and they have dried. And I'm going to take my jute twine that I picked up from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to wrap it around several times on one side of each board. I made 2 small bows using some of the twine and I'm only going to put it on the boards that have the jute twine to the left of the boards. I printed the words blessed, grateful, and thankful using my Cricut, and I'm going to attach those 3 final words to my boards. I want the 3 signs to be able to stand on their own, so I'm going to use the back of some old picture frames and I am going to attach them to the back of my signs. After gluing the backs of the picture frames to my signs, this DIY would be completed. I love how beautifully they turned out. I love the simplicity of the DIYs that I created for you tonight, and I hope you loved all 3 of them just as much as I do. All right, my friends, that is all that I have for you tonight. Thank you so much for spending a small part of your day with me. I truly hope you enjoyed these easy and beautiful DIYs enough to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. Do not forget to hit that notification bell because you do not want to miss the upcoming DIYs that I have in store for you. Please do not forget to like this video by giving it a thumbs up. Leave a comment and share this video with your friends because that really helps to support the growth of my channel. Here are 2 other videos. I hope you will enjoy watching them as well. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye, guys.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on my mommy's channel.